Hello friends, today we are going to learn about Android splash screen and its animation behavior along with the use case of a user logging into an application with the behavior that it exhibits on certain condition. Let's have a walkthrough. The things that we are going to do. First is the precheck condition. This is an event listener where we can check what we have to do before entering into a landing screen, followed by an exit animation listener, which defines the animation behavior when exiting the splash screen and entering into a landing screen, with an example of an user logging in for the first time or not. Let's have a theoretical walkthrough of the pre-draw listener. As I already mentioned, pre-draw listener is an event handler which acts as a caretaker for the launcher screen to accomplish if anything needs to be checked. First, we need to get the content root view of the landing screen in which we are going to work out this code, followed by which we have to draw the listeners for pre-draw and on-draw. We are not going to do anything on the on-draw method. We are going to check a condition on the pre-draw, and followed by which, based on the condition, we are going to decide what we have to do. Let us have a hands-on of how we are going to implement this with the example that we are going to discuss. Let us start implementing. First, we have to create a view model for the user in order to check the condition in our main activity. So for which I have created a user view model where it has three fields. First one is the username and the password and is new. With this field, we are going to check the condition. So basically this is a view model. I have created a live data which holds this view model, and we have to refer it in our main activity. With that, we are going to check the condition, before which we have to implement the pre-draw listener. For which we have to refer the root view of the main activity. So I am going to refer the root view, for which I have to use a find view ID. We are going to refer the global root view, so we have to use android.or.id dot content. So this will give us the root view of the main activity. So we have to get the root views view tree observer. So this holds all the nodes of the view. So from this we have to add the pre-draw listener. So now we have to implement the listeners. First one is the pre-draw listener, for which we have to use a on pre-draw listener method. So this will implement the basic structure of a pre-draw listener. In this, we are going to refer the user object and perform the condition. So this asks for a written expression, which is basically a boolean. So for now, I am returning false by default. So now we have to refer the user object in this place. So for which either we have to create an object or else we have to create a static object here. Inside the scope of the class, we can create an companion object and move this to here so that we can directly refer the user. User VM dot user live data dot value. So with this you can add a new user to the existing user model. So we are going to store this in the user, and user dot value its value is a type of user, so we have to add a user, no parameters. So we have to create a dummy user or our first user. Say our first user's name is F user. We are creating object for the user, and we are going to set a name for him. Say our user's name is Hari and password is something like password, and we are going to decide is this user new or not. Is new equal to false, because for the very first time the user will be not new, so I'm going to set it as is new is equal to false. So we are going to replace this with F user. So this assigns the user that we have created to the user's live data. So now we have the user with the following details. So now we are going to perform on pre-draw listener with the condition whether the user is new or not. So if consider you are referring the user dot value is new, we have to assert it because there is a chance that it may be null. So based on this condition we are going to decide either we are going to return true or false. With this condition we are going to check whether the user is new or not, and based on which we are going to decide whether we are going to show the splash screen or not. So I am going to decide if it is new, show it, or if it is not new one, return false. And also we have to add another line. If it is false or new, we have to remove the content root view. So for which what I am doing is root view dot remove on pre-draw listener of this. So this will remove the victim. Here the victim is referring to the current root view object. So let us summarize what we have done. So here we have checked for the user is new. If it is new user, you are going to remove the splash screen and you are allowing the screen to enter into the landing screen. Or else we are saying return false. So here we have not did anything. Here also you can do the same thing, but here we are returning false. So it is not a proper way to do that here. Hey, simply you can set it as false. Then here we are going to check for another condition, that if it is new. So now let us see what we have did. We have set the is new to false so that it will evaluate this condition and will go to the false statement. So what will happen is, if I run, it will not remove the screen and it will show a blank screen. It does not know what it need to do. So in order to make this evaluate to this condition, we have to set it as true here, and let's see what happens. So now it is considering the user is new and navigating to the landing screen, and let's see the animation behavior, what it does. So we are clicking on the screen, it's showing the splash for a few seconds and it's navigating to the landing screen based on the condition that we have provided, saying that this user is new so that I can allow the screen to navigate to the landing screen, or else I can do something else like exiting app or something. Here, if you want the same thing to happen here, you can add this piece of code here and make this statement to false and check. So now this goes to this block and let's see what happens. Now it allows the app to go to the landing screen even though the evaluation is returns false. So by this way you can make a decision before entering into the landing screen. After completing the pre-draw listener, next thing that we have to do is the exit animation. As we already discussed, the exit animation is nothing a transition between the splash screen to the launcher screen, setting how to behave when entering into the launcher screen. So this is a basic skeleton saying that on exiting an animation, we are saying welcome back and followed by an animation. Let's have a hands-on on how we are going to achieve this.
So after completing the pre-draw listener, let us proceed with the exit animation behavior for the splash screen. So the essential thing that we need now is an animation util. So I'll give you the link for the animation util methods in the description. You can copy and use, but for now I'll explain you the basics of an animation util. So I have an animation util class where I have defined two animation methods. One is a slide up, another one is a slide down. We are going to use the slide down method, for which I have used the translation animation method and defined the coordinates from where and to where it need to make the translation. So for a 500 milliseconds I have made the animation duration, and I have made the screen transition from top to bottom. So the transition will appear from the top of the screen coordinate to the bottom of the viewport. So this will happen once we use the method. Let us see how we can implement that. In order to use the exit animation behavior, we need to refer the splash screen object that we have created earlier. So the splash screen object is in the beginning of the screen. So let us refer that splash screen, and with this we'll be having the access to the set on exit animation listener method. Let us use this method. It will give you the anonymous object. So you can have a specific name for it, say splash screen. So I'm going to use a splash screen as the identifier. So the splash screen will have the view access. So we need this object for doing the animation. So we are going to apply the animation to the splash screen.view property. So in order to access the animation that we have, we are going to use this name slide down. Basically this is a companion class, so we can directly have access to the method using the class name. I'm going to use a slide down animation. So I'm going to call the method slide down and pass the parameter splash screen dot view. So this will make the animation applied for the splash screen object. So this will eventually make the screen slide down from top to bottom. So let us see how it goes. First, let us clear this from the recent task and let us run it. So let us open it from the app launcher. As you can see, it slides down and the landing screen is visible now. So this is how we achieve a exit animation listener. Let us add little interaction to this method. So we have a pre-draw listener in which we have the condition to check whether the user is new or not. Let us make a welcome message with that. So I am creating a welcome message equal to welcome by default. So based on the condition that we created, we can make this interactive by, if the user is new, we can have the message with the name as welcome followed by the user's name. If the user is not a new one, is an old user, let us say he can have the message welcome back, and we can use this message in the exit listener with help of a toast. I'm going to make the toast a little short and short. So let us clear this. So we have the message welcome Hari because it is considered as a new user because of the condition that we have as user is new. So this is how you design an interactive splash screen based on a pre-draw listener condition and with an exit animation.
So friends, we have completed the on pre-draw listener and the exit animation listener for a splash screen. With this, we are completing the basic behavior of a splash screen for Android 12. And one more thing is, we don't need to separately animate the icon as the splash screen API does not feature that. And also, one more thing that you need to understand is it will splash a screen only when you are clicking it for the very first time. If the app is already active, it will not show you the screen. So that you have to remember, and it doesn't mean it is not working. So see, it is already in the active state, so it will not show you. This you will get an idea when you know the life cycle of an activity. So with this we are completing it, and you don't need a separate animation for icon because Android 12 features animating the whole screen with a transition. So thank you friends. With this we are completing the session. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and like the video and press the bell icon for getting notified for my future videos.